What happens when the owner of a bar chain goes undercover then watches a bartender scream at a pregnant woman for throwing up? Noah Nelsen built his bar and grill chain from a single rundown dive in his 20s. 17 locations now, spread across 3 states. He used to know the name of every bartender, cook, and dishwasher in his first 5 stores. But somewhere along the line, after the 10th location, things got blurry. Lately, he'd been getting vague reports, some complaints about slow service, a couple bad reviews mentioning rude staff, but nothing concrete. He brought it up with his district manager, but got the same line every time. "We're short-staffed, Noah. Everyone's overworked." Noah wasn't buying it. He hadn't been to the Southgate location in over a year. It was a busy spot, close to a college and a hospital, and always packed on weekends. He hadn't met most of the current staff. That's what made it perfect. He threw on a black t-shirt, jeans, and beat-up sneakers. Grew out his beard just enough. Wore a baseball cap low. His fake name for the day? Mike. Just a guy coming in for a burger and a drink. The staff didn't recognize him. Why would they? Most had never seen him in person. It was a corporate chain now. People knew the logo, not his face. He stepped in around 7 on a Friday night. Place was busy. Music loud. Lights low. A server rushed past him without a glance. He took a seat at the bar. A bartender, early 30s, buzz cut, arms covered in tattoos, leaned over. "You eating or just drinking?" "Eating," Noah said. "Can I get the cheeseburger, medium, fries, and a ginger ale?" The bartender barely nodded. "Name?" "Mike." Noah watched. The guy his name tag said Trey moved fast but didn't smile once. He barked orders at the servers. Tossed a used rag across the bar when someone spilled a drink. 10 minutes in, Noah saw a young woman walk in, holding her stomach. She looked pale, maybe mid-20s. A man held her arm, steadying her. They whispered something to the hostess, who seated them in a booth 2 tables away. Noah's food came. He took a bite, still watching. Then it happened. The woman stood up quickly, hand over her mouth. She stumbled toward the restroom. She didn't make it. She threw up. Right near the hallway entrance. The bar went silent for a second. Then Trey shouted, loud and sharp. "You kidding me? Seriously? You just gonna puke in the middle of the damn bar?" Gasps. A few people turned away. The woman looked frozen, eyes wide with tears. Her partner stepped forward. "She's pregnant, man." "She couldn't," Trey cut him off. "Then stay home. What the hell you doing bringing her here if she can't handle it? You think I got time to clean this up? This is disgusting." Noah stood. He felt his chest tighten. Every eye was on the scene. The woman was crying now, apologizing, leaning into her partner. A young server rushed over with paper towels, looking panicked. Noah walked toward Trey, slow and calm. "You might want to take it easy," he said. Trey looked him up and down. "Who the hell are you?" "Just someone who's not okay with you screaming at a pregnant woman," Noah said. That was way out of line. Trey scoffed. "Then maybe you should clean it up, Mike. We're short on staff, and she just made a mess during peak hours." Noah didn't answer. He turned and walked toward the back. He needed to cool off for a second. Think. His hands were shaking. He found the manager's office. Knocked once. A skinny guy in khakis and a headset opened the door. "Can I help you?" Noah looked him in the eyes.
"I'm Noah Nelsen.
"I own this place." The manager's face drained of color. "Wait, what?" "You heard me. I've been sitting at the bar for the past 30 minutes. I just watched one of your bartenders humiliate a pregnant woman in front of a packed house." The manager stammered. I didn't see. I know. You weren't out there. That's the problem." Noah took a breath. "Get Trey off the floor.
Now.
And bring the rest of the staff into the break room. We're having a talk." Trey stood in the corner of the break room, arms crossed, staring at a spot on the floor like he was waiting for this to be over. The rest of the staff filtered in slowly, servers with flushed cheeks, A line cook still wearing his apron, a teenage hostess who kept biting her thumbnail. The air was thick with unease, no one sure what was coming. Noah stood near the back wall, his voice even. "Before we go any further, I want to make something clear," he said. "This isn't a stunt. I'm not here for a show. I came in because I've been getting reports that something's off in this location. I didn't want to rely on filtered updates or tidy spreadsheets. I needed to see it with my own eyes." He looked around the room. A few employees nodded silently. Trey didn't move. "I just watched a pregnant woman get yelled at after getting sick. Nobody here tried to de-escalate it. No apology. No compassion. I'll handle that part myself later, but first," he turned toward the manager, who was standing stiffly near the door. "You want to explain why your bartender's out there screaming at customers while you're back here?" The manager cleared his throat. "Look, I didn't see what happened, but Trey's been with us a while. He handles the rush. We've been running short-staffed for weeks. I've tried getting more help, but corporate's been slow on approvals." "That's not what I asked," Noah said. "You're the floor manager. If someone's out of line, it's your job to step in. Not after a shift. Not after a Yelp review. Right then." The manager looked down and said nothing. Noah turned to Trey. "You want to tell me what was going through your head out there?" Trey shrugged. "It was disgusting. She puked in the middle of the floor. I've got 4 servers behind, and 2 barbacks no-showed. I don't have time to babysit people who can't handle being in public." "You think that was handling it?" Noah asked. Trey didn't answer. "You've been reported twice this year already," Noah continued. "Once for yelling at a server in front of customers. Another for storming out mid-shift. You think, because the place runs hot on weekends, that you're untouchable." "I keep the bar moving," Trey muttered. "Ask any of them." He gestured vaguely around the room, but no one spoke up for him. Noah waited a beat, then pointed to the door. "You're done here. Turn in your keys. You don't talk to people like that in my building, customer, coworker, anyone. We're not doing this kind of business." Trey stepped forward, face tightening. "You serious right now?" "Completely," Noah said. "And if you walk out without handing over the bar tablet and your drawer code, I'll have security handle retrieval tomorrow." Trey looked ready to say something else, then turned and walked out, slamming the door behind him. The room stayed quiet for a long second. Noah exhaled and looked at the rest of them. "All right," he said. "Now that that's handled, let's talk." He pulled a chair into the middle of the room and sat down. "I want honesty. No scripts. I'm not looking to fire anyone else. I want to understand what's happening here." A young woman in a server's apron, probably early 20s, raised her hand halfway.
I'm Kayla.
"I've only been here 3 months. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but it's been kind of like this since I started. Like, if you mess something up, it's just yelling. Not even feedback, just shouting. And then it's back to pretending everything's fine." Noah nodded. "Who's doing the yelling?" The kitchen door opened slightly, and a cook leaned in. "Can I say something?" "Come in," Noah said. The cook stepped in fully. Sweat on his brow. Name tag reading Luis. "We're always rushing. I get that.
But it's not just the yelling, man.
It's like we're not people. 2 weeks ago, my kid got sick. I asked to swap shifts, and I was told if I missed again, I'd be replaced. I've worked here for 4 years." Noah leaned forward.
Who told you that? Luis Geshetati.
Floor manager said it came from regional. But I don't even know if that's true. Everything gets passed around here like a threat. Noah turned back to the manager. "You threatening people's jobs over sick days?" The manager looked like he wanted to disappear. "Noah, I told him we were tight on shifts. I didn't say I'd replace him. Not like that." "You said something that made him believe it. I was trying to keep the schedule together. We've been getting crushed on Friday nights. And your solution is pressure and threats." "I didn't mean, you meant to keep things running, I get it. But you're bleeding out morale while you do it. That's not leadership." He turned back to the staff. I want to hear more. What else is broken? A tall server in his 30s, arms folded tight, spoke next. I'm Eric. Been here 2 years. I've trained 6 people in the last 6 months. None of them stayed longer than 2 weeks. They all said the same thing: too tense, too hostile, no support. And honestly, I get it. I've thought about leaving too. Noah nodded once. Why haven't you? Eric scratched his jaw. My kid's in daycare. I need the tips. I can't afford to start over somewhere else. Noah didn't speak for a moment. Then he looked around again. Who's the longest here besides Eric? A woman near the back raised her hand.
I'm Vanessa.
Bartender. Been here since it opened. I don't talk much during shifts, but I've seen everything. This place used to be fun. Now I just keep my head down. What changed? New hires. New pace. Everyone's in survival mode. You don't have time to care about anything but getting through the night. Noah stood again. I didn't build this company so people could hate coming in every day. I didn't build it so we could treat customers like problems or make employees feel disposable. He looked at the manager. You're off the floor for the rest of the weekend. I'll have someone from another location cover. You'll work with HR on Monday to go through your decisions the last few months. If I find out you've been misrepresenting policies or setting a tone of fear, we'll have a different conversation. The manager gave a small nod, eyes low. Noah turned back to the room. Everyone else, I'm not promising miracles overnight. But I'm not walking away from this. You deserve better than what I saw tonight. And so do the people who walk through that front door. He paused. Starting tomorrow, I'm assigning a full-time support lead to this location. Someone with experience in both front and back of house who can troubleshoot in real time. I'm also putting in a standing rule: no schedule threats. If someone's abusing time off, we'll handle it through policy, not pressure. He stepped toward the door. I'll be back Monday morning. Until then, do your best. I'll be watching the floor cams. And if anyone gets out of line again, I want to know immediately. As he walked out, the room stayed quiet, but a few heads lifted. Eyes followed him. No one said it, but something had shifted. Not fixed.
Not yet.
But for the first time in a long while, someone had actually listened. Saturday morning, Noah was back at Southgate by 10.
No cap, no disguisa.
He walked in through the front, made direct eye contact with the host, and asked for the floor manager. No hesitation in his voice, no need to explain who he was this time. Word had already moved through the building. A corporate support lead from the Westview location, a sharp, even-tempered woman named Carla, had arrived an hour earlier. She'd filled in for the suspended manager, clipboard in hand, already walking the floor and checking the logs. Noah found her near the bar, talking with Kayla and another server he hadn't met yet. Carla caught his eye and walked over.
Morning, she said.
I've gone through the last 30 days of incident reports and tip-outs. There's some inconsistencies in how hours were logged versus who got what tables. I flagged them for payroll. Also found out Eric's been doubling as a closer and unofficial lead without the bump in pay. Good, Noah said. Let's talk to the kitchen next. They stepped into the back, where the heat and clatter of prep work filled the space. Luis was slicing onions at the far end, earbuds in. Another cook, younger, with a nervous energy to him, was frantically checking fryer timers and plating sides. Noah watched for a moment, then called out, Luis. He pulled out one earbud and turned. Yeah, can we talk? Luis wiped his hands on a towel and walked over. His posture tightened slightly, unsure what was coming next. I'm not here to dig into yesterday, Noah said. I already know what happened. But I need to understand what kind of pressure you're under back here. You've been here long enough to see the patterns. Luis leaned against the prep table, voice low. We're short 2-line cooks. Been that way for over a month. I've been covering double stations. Some nights, I don't even get a bathroom break. It's not just the hours, it's the way we're treated. Like, if we mess up one thing, we're replaceable. Trey used to come back here and toss plates in the sink if he didn't like how they looked. That kind of stuff wears you down. Why didn't you report it? Luis gave a tired laugh.
Who to?
The guy managing the floor was just trying to keep Trey happy. Everyone upstairs acted like he was the reason we weren't bleeding customers. No one wanted to poke the bear. Noah nodded slowly. You said you've got a kid. How old?
3.
She's in daycare weekdays. My wife works mornings. We trade off. You want to keep working here? Luis shrugged. I don't hate the work. I hate the way they make it feel like it's not worth anything. Noah looked at Carla. Let's get him off the grill after the lunch rush. I want him training as assistant kitchen lead, effective next week. We'll rotate someone from Westview or Lakeside to cover until we hire.
Luis blinked, uncertain.
You serious? You've been holding this place up with no recognition. That ends now. Carla nodded and jotted it down. Noah stepped out into the hallway, Carla following. I want every veteran employee in this building evaluated for cross-training, he said quietly. If they've been doing more than one job, we either compensate them or reduce load. No more unspoken promotions. They made their way back to the front. Vanessa was behind the bar, prepping garnishes. She kept her head low, but her pace was steady. Noah walked over. Vanessa. She looked up, guarded. Yeah. You've been here since opening. That right? 7 years. You ever wanted to run your own bar? She raised an eyebrow.
Sure.
Who hasn't? Then why haven't you gone for a management role? She hesitated, wiped a lemon wedge on a napkin. No one ever asked. And I'm not the type who plays politics. I just do the job. That's all. Noah nodded. Do you know the inventory system? Better than the last 2 bar managers. They always asked me where things were. He leaned on the counter. I'm putting you on a 2-week trial as bar lead. You'll report directly to Carla. You get full control over ordering, shift planning, and floor support. If it goes well, you get the title and the raise. Vanessa didn't smile, but something in her jaw relaxed. All right, she said. I'll take it. Noah turned as Eric approached from the side. He looked like he hadn't slept much, but there was a steadiness in how he walked now. Less like someone waiting for the next shoe to drop. Can we talk? Eric asked. Let's go outside. They stepped into the alley behind the building. The sun was high, but the concrete stayed cool in the shade. Eric leaned against the brick wall. I wasn't sure I'd come in today. Last night shook a lot of folks. But then I saw Luis prepping early, and Vanessa already restocking without being told, and something felt different. Noah waited. I've been on edge here for over a year. Not because of the customers. It's the feeling that any mistake could get me cut. I've watched good people walk out that door, because no one ever told them they mattered. You want this place to turn around? Talk is good. But if people don't see action by next week, they'll stop believing again. You're right, Noah said. And I don't expect anyone to trust me overnight. That's why I'm not leaving. I'll be working from here for at least the next 2 weeks. No office. No calls. Just this building. Eric looked surprised. You're staying here? I built this company so people could earn a living and feel proud of their work. Somewhere along the way, I let systems replace relationships. I'm fixing that. Starting here. Eric nodded once. I'll hold you to that. Back inside, Carla flagged Noah down. We've got a situation. She led him to the hostess stand, where a girl in a red blouse with flushed cheeks was holding her phone, distressed. Across from her stood a man in a button-down shirt, mid-30s, arms folded tight, voice raised just enough to draw attention. She refused to let me sit at the window, the man said. I've been coming here for years. I asked politely. She gave my spot to someone else. The hostess, her name tag read, Ava, stood frozen, eyes darting between Carla and the man. I told him it was reserved for a large party, she said softly. I don't care, the man snapped. I said I'd only be an hour. She looked at me and decided I wasn't worth the seat. You think I don't know what that's about? Noah stepped forward. What do you think it's about? He asked. The man turned. You the manager? I'm the owner. The man's face shifted slightly, but he didn't back down. She saw me, decided I didn't look like I belonged at the window. That's discrimination. I've got a right to sit where I want. Noah turned to Ava. Tell me exactly what happened. She swallowed. He came in, asked for the window. I told him we had a reservation coming in 20 minutes that needed the space. He got angry and said I was lying. I wasn't. Noah looked at Carla. Is there a reservation?
Yes.
Group of 8. Booked 2 days ago. He turned back to the man. Then you were told the truth. You're making accusations about a 19-year-old doing her job. That's unacceptable. The man opened his mouth, but Noah cut him off. You're not welcome here today. And if you ever speak to one of my staff like that again, you won't be welcome here ever. The man looked stunned. I'm a regular. Not anymore. Ava looked like she might cry. Noah turned to her. You did the right thing. Don't ever second-guess yourself because someone tries to intimidate you. You're here to manage the front, not to absorb abuse. She gave a small nod, still shaken. Noah watched as the man stormed out. A few guests nearby gave quiet nods of approval. He turned to Carla. From now on, I want every host position to have a panic phrase. Something they can say if they're being harassed. If they use it, a lead or manager comes up immediately. No questions.
No dirás.
Got it. Noah scanned the room. The energy had shifted again. Not loud, not dramatic, but it was there a quiet recalibration. A staff learning that the rules had changed and that this time someone meant it. By the following Thursday, the tension in the Southgate location had begun to settle into something more manageable. Not relaxed, no one was pretending the job was easy, but the edge that had hung in the air for months had dulled. Shifts were still long, the weekend prep still intense, but something had changed in the way people moved. Noah spent each day stationed in the side office once used for storage, laptop open, door always ajar. Staff came in and out to ask questions, check policy, or just get a read on whether this new version of leadership was actually going to last. That morning, Vanessa stepped in during a lull. I submitted the new ordering list, she said. We're under budget for the week, even with the extra glassware I swapped out. Noah looked up from his screen. You adjusted the barware? We've been losing too many tumblers to chipping. I found a bulk deal through a vendor we used to use before the last manager changed it. Saved us about $70. He nodded. Smart. I'll have Carla flag it for other locations. She lingered at the door. Something else? Vanessa crossed her arms. Eric said you're still planning to be here through next week. I am. Then I want to talk about the Friday schedule. Go ahead. I want to cut one bartender off the night shift and slide them to Saturday morning. The Friday rush is tough, but it ends by midnight. The Saturday open is where we're crashing. We've had 3 weeks in a row where the prep wasn't done on time. Who moves to the morning?
Kayla.
She's fast, and she's been asking for more hours anyway. Make the change. Vanessa nodded once and left. At noon, a quiet knock came from a hallway. Luis stepped in, coat over his arm, face unreadable. I'm heading out, he said. My daughter's got a doctor's appointment. I cleared it with Carla yesterday. You all set for tomorrow?
Luis nodded.
Prep list is half done already. I'll finish the rest tonight after bedtime. He didn't move. I owe you something, he said finally. Not just for the title. You made them listen. That hasn't happened here in a long time. Noah stood. You don't owe me. You kept this place from collapsing when no one was watching. I just finally showed up. Luis held out a hand. They shook once, firm and quick, and Luis slipped out. Mid-afternoon, Carla walked in with a folder. Payroll corrections are being processed. We're adjusting retroactive pay for 5 people who've been covering extra duties without classification. Good. There's one more thing, she said, sitting. Ava's asking for a transfer. Not because of last week. She's actually been thinking about it for a while. Wants to try a quieter location closer to home. I told her it's up to you, but we'd need to fill her spot by next weekend if she goes. Let her move, Noah said. We'll backfill with a temp from Brentwood until we hire. Carla nodded and left. By 5, the dinner shift was building. The usual Friday pressure crept in, order stacking, music louder, tables turning faster. Noah stepped behind the host stand, watching the flow. Kayla zipped between booths, already on her 4th table, eyes focused but collected. Eric was at the far end of the floor, checking in with a couple whose appetizer had gone long. He handed them a basket of fries on the house without being prompted and moved on. In the kitchen, Vanessa was helping expedite. She wasn't calling out orders, just making sure plates were complete before hitting the window. She caught Noah's eye through the pass and offered a short nod. Then, just past 6, things tipped. A man in a rumpled blazer walked in, holding a phone to his ear, not looking up. The hostess tried to greet him, but he waved her off with a dismissive hand and sat himself at a two-top by the window. Within minutes, he was snapping at a server. You took too long. I've been here 5 minutes. You seated yourself, the server replied. We didn't know you were here until just now. Is that my problem? Noah crossed the floor. Sir, I'm the owner. If there's been a delay, I can help get you taken care of. The man didn't look up from his phone. I don't need you. I need someone who knows how to get a steak cooked right. Noah stepped closer. If you speak to my staff like that again, I'll have to ask you to leave. The man finally looked up. You threatening customers now? No, Noah said. I'm enforcing the standards of this business. You want to eat here, you treat the people serving you with respect. I work in finance, the man snapped. You think I'm going to be lectured by some guy in a t-shirt? You already are, Noah replied. And if you want to keep going, do it outside. The man stood, grabbed his coat, and stormed out. A few heads turned, but no one said anything. The server exhaled, tension slowly leaving his shoulders. Thanks, he said quietly. Noah nodded and returned to the host stand. The rest of the night passed without incident. By 10, the tables had thinned. Staff moved slower, cleaning, resetting, prepping for the next wave. Eric approached, wiping down a tray. You staying late again? Just long enough to see the close. Eric hesitated, then motioned toward the bar. Got a minute? They sat at the far end, away from the remaining guests. I've been thinking, Eric said, about applying for an official floor lead role. I've never wanted the politics, but if the way this team runs is changing, I want to be part of it. You've got the instincts, Noah said, and the respect of a team. Then I'd like to try. It's yours. Starting Monday. Eric nodded slowly. I wasn't sure you were serious about all this. But you've been here. Every day. That matters. Noah leaned back. I forgot how much you learned just by showing up. I built this place from scratch, but somewhere along the way, I let numbers replace people. That won't happen again. He stood. I'll be back for the Saturday open. After that, I'm rotating to other stores. But I'll keep checking in. This place still has work to do. Eric smiled faintly. We can handle it. Noah walked to the front door, pausing before he stepped out. Behind him, the lights were dimming. The music had lowered. A team was still moving, still working, but now they moved like they mattered. And for the first time in far too long, they did.